Keller Williams Metro, um, in 2011, and so been here since. So I am excited to be part of this journey with you and in really helping you understand through these Ignite sessions, kind of the building blocks of really creating a solid foundation of a real estate business. And so important even during our kind of new normal today, especially for those that have been in the industry for a while. So I was going to do a little poll, but I don't see how to do it here. So just a show of hands, who has been licensed or who has been licensed at least 6 months? Or yeah, just brandly new license. How about like for a couple of years, up to a couple of years? No. Okay. And then more than 2 years. Anyone else? Okay. Is there anybody waiting for their license? I'm just kind of curious. No? Okay. Just wondering. So this is exciting because we actually have kind of two ends of the spectrum in regards to kind of setting up our kind of sharing the experience. So there's going to be kind of some places during this Ignite session where I will ask for your participation. So you could either add it in the chat box or just go unmute. And the easiest way to unmute, if you don't know, because right now you guys are all muted, if you just want to quickly unmute, is just hit the space bar. And then that will unmute you for that time being and then kind of come back out. All right. So just to kind of let you know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So again, we are in Ignite session 1, and it's actually Power session 1. So show of hands, how many of you have your materials ready? I believe Evie gave you guys a link. Just show of hands if you guys have your materials kind of off to the side or ready to go. If not, let me actually show you because I think there's a little bit of confusion. But before we kind of formally get started, I'm going to show you where all the materials are right now. So, and I'm going to put this link on here on the chat box. So this link goes directly to kwconnect. You will need your KW login to access this page. And what you will see here is you will see all of the Ignite materials. So instead of having to wait for a link, I would recommend downloading all the materials so you have it ready to go by the time you join for the Ignite session. It is highly encouraged to at least go through the materials the day before so that you can prepare for that session. And the reason being is because the materials, most of the instructors probably won't go through all of the materials that you find in the manual. So for instance, we are in Power Session 1, and how you find the materials, because like I said, there's a few days that the order is different. So for instance, yesterday was actually with Chris, was business, build your business. So it's actually Power Session 2. And then for today is Power Session 1, Ignite Your Business. So all the manuals are actually the one that says Manual US. You'll want to download all of these, and it's kind of organized per day. Does everyone see my screen? Okay. So you'll kind of want to do it for all 12 sessions. And then you're going to see this thing called Mission. This is kind of the homework for the day. So, and the homework to finish prior to joining in that next session. So if you have this material, Mission 1, this would have been what you would have done prior to coming to this class. So you will notice here, you probably have a lot of this done, gather your supplies, looking at Ignite, but I do want you to download this PDF because you're going to see some of these PDFs have this little live link on the PDF itself, kind of these arrows that are videos. So if you click here, like 6 personal perspectives, there's actually 6 videos. If you click on it, it actually will jump you to a video. And this one is a few minutes long. So I would say that each mission, download the PDFs, and they are live PDFs. Each mission will have those embedded videos that will bring you to a video to kind of watch. Oops. Let me bring that up again. So this has 6 videos. I would say that each day there's about probably not more than an hour of videos to watch regarding that. And so this one is a welcome with Gary Keller. So let me kind of play that, for instance, for you. And hopefully this will work. And if you guys can comment on the chat box if you cannot hear the sound. I knew it. Hold on. Stand by. Let me start over.
And easy to apply. Oh. It's about the
Let me go back. You guys
fundamentals that determine your level of success in the business of. Hi, I'm Gary Keller. This course will allow you to get off to a fast start you can build on. Because if you repeated the principles every 90 days for a year, believe me, you have an awesome first year. And just as important, you would have built the foundation and momentum for your entire career. It is practical, realistic, and easy to apply. It's about the fundamentals that determine your level of success in the business of real estate. From our research with top agents, we have found that they too started their careers with these fundamentals, and they continue to do them along with their teams to this very day. And it's not hard. It just requires a little focused effort, a few hours every day. Now, there is really just one way to achieve the goal. It's lead generation. Now, other skills are important, yet without leads to work with, your skills won't mean a thing. Dealing with business never takes precedence over what? Finding business. Never. Research shows that top producing agents make lead generation their #1 priority and the one thing they make sure they always get done. You can do this. And when you do, you will get the leads, the relationships, the experiences, the career, and the income that you want and deserve. Go get them, and good luck.
Kind of jazzy with the videos. So those are kind of one of the things, kind of an intro of Ignite, but do download the missions. That will help prepare you for each Ignite session. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you're going to notice actually additional resources. And I really wanted to point this out. So Evie gave you the calendar. You should have the calendar for Ignite of all of the sessions that we have. So you should have that calendar. And just a reminder, the Friday class is actually earlier than normal because of the business clinic on Friday the 6th. I believe it starts at 8:30. So double check, but just please note that for Friday, Ignite starts earlier than 10 o'clock. Okay, I believe it's 8:30. So please double check your schedule. So there's kind of a couple things here for Ignite. For instance, 10 things every real estate agent should know about mortgage letting. That one's a really good one. The toolkit. There's actually a lot of forms here. And throughout the sessions of Ignite, you're going to see any forms that you see in the manuals. They're basically templates all in this toolkit, Ignite toolkit. Here, Ignite scripts. There's actually about 75 different scripts that you learn throughout Ignite. Now, of course, these are slightly different than the scripts that you learn with Stephen and Coach Carl in the mornings with script practice. However, these are, for those of you just curious, how many of you kind of are more visual than you are audio? Like when you're learning something, you just need to kind of read it before just hearing it. So this is going to be a really good resource for you guys as far as like scripts are concerned, what to say. And it's not just lead generation scripts, it's scripts throughout the entire escrow process and working with a client. So some objections, some like how to get people to sign a BRE, just kind of those kind of scripts, as well as lead generation and lead follow-up. And then in addition, you're going to see a few scripts of how to write handwritten note cards. So that's kind of, we're going to talk about that today. And then I would say right here, these are slightly different than Command as far as the buyer presentation and the listing presentation. So in Ignite, these are actually Word documents you could download. These are also just a buyer presentation and listing presentation you can utilize. So you don't have to use the ones in Command. I do have to say these are kind of more straightforward than Command. Command has a lot of graphics. This one is a very simple, but it is easy to read. And in Ignite, you're going to see the instructors kind of going over this version, not the Command version in Ignite. So you will know, go ahead and download these. Now, if you don't have Word on your computer, this can be used in Google Docs. All right, so I just kind of wanted to briefly kind of go over where the materials are so you know exactly where to find it. And like I said, the sessions of the day, you got to check the title and make sure you're downloading the right materials. Sound good? Okay. All right, so that is, that's kind of where the materials are. I just wanted to bring that up. So we're going to just jump right in to the power session. So I just kind of want to get some feedback from you guys. What were some, like what was one, and if maybe you want to put that in the chat box, what is a key aha you learned from Chris about building your database yesterday? So what was a takeaway? What was like the biggest takeaway from yesterday as far as building your database?
Whatever time you put in is what you'll get out.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Thank you, Leah.
Please.
Anyone else? Two more people.
I put mine in the chat, but I put be creative with how you follow up, like GIFs, drop-ins. You could, yeah, stuff like that.
Awesome. I love that.
I loved our meeting yesterday. I thought it was great.
Great. Finding more leads. So Aaron said finding more leads from other leads is what I think you're talking about. Is that right? By other leads?
He was mentioning that actually one of his leads, how he found like 18, 19 more leads from the first one.
Correct. Right? So it's actually not just the person that you're talking to, but it's, did he mention like what question would you ask that person?
If like they know that any other person, their family or friends need a help or need a, have a, buyer or seller.
Correct.
Buyers or sellers.
Correct. So how to kind of clean that script up is, who do you know? By the way, who do you know in your world, whether it's friends or family or coworkers, that maybe have mentioned that they're thinking about buying or selling real estate right now? Who comes to mind?
Who's doing the same thing?
I'm sorry?
Who's doing the same thing?
Correct. Either who's doing the same thing, or even if you're just calling your database, it's like maybe not about real estate, and maybe they don't have needs. Like, well, thank you so much. I'll definitely keep you updated. And I'm just curious, who do you know that you might have heard from your family or friends that are thinking about buying or selling real estate, maybe before the end of the year, just to try to get in, or maybe just right after next year. So, and then pause. And the key, what is, do you guys, from that, what do you think is the most powerful word in that question? Just listening to that script. Anyone want to take a guess? No? It's who. It's who, because it's an open-ended question. All right. Victor also said, always keep in touch, stay on people's minds. Absolutely. It's the follow-ups, the fortunes in the follow-up. So it's not that first connection, it's the subsequent connections after that first conversation about real estate. So love that. Thank you all for sharing that. All right. So in the materials, as I mentioned before, I'm on page 8 in the materials. And here it says that we're actually in 2 businesses right now. When you got your license, did you realize you're actually in 2 businesses? And what does it say on the materials that we're in the business? What are the 2 businesses that we have? Anyone? With the materials. I'm on page 8 of session 1.
I've got, your screen has taken over my screen, so I can't see the materials anymore.
Oh, gotcha. Never mind. So I'm gonna share with you. So this is on page 8. So I hope you guys really, I advise you, I know it's hard unless you have 2 screens, it'd probably be hard to have your materials. So I invite you to write things down right now, because writing things down is going to be powerful. So you're in 2 businesses. You are actually first in the business of lead generation. That has to come first before your business of real estate actually happens. So if you're not focused on how to build a system around connecting with people, generating leads, and creating opportunities, the business of real estate cannot happen. So we need to master or really build our skills on the business of lead gen. And mindset matters and attitude matters when you're doing that business. Oh, thank you, Victor. I just saw you type that. Thank you. So let's get to, because attitude matters and mindset matters, let's jump into the 6 personal perspectives. And so this is the first one, is the 6 personal perspectives. Gary Keller actually did research on hundreds of agents that had asked, top agents, and he asked, what differentiates those who achieve the highest level from those who don't seem to accomplish much? So here he says it's kind of bringing together these 3 basic attributes: mindset, attitude, and approach of life. And so he had broken it down to, of these 6 attributes, it actually comes down to that the top achieving agents have these perspectives. And the first one is self-mastery. So with self-mastery, that is actually a commitment, or actually, let me ask you this. How would you define self-mastery? Who would like to kind of try that out? How would you kind of define self-mastery? What does that mean?
I think that it would mean something along the lines of understanding how you work and how just understanding yourself, really, like understanding how you work and how you go about business and how you approach things.
Great,
Having
thank
the
you.
discipline to follow through with your goals
Mm-hmm.
on a chronic basis.
Okay. And thank you,
I-
Leah.
I think knowing your strengths and weaknesses, like what you're very good at naturally and the things you know personally you need to work on.
Yes, yes. And even Victor said know who you are. And you guys are kind of all correct. You know, it's actually mentioned on page 10 is kind of those three things. You got to know your goals and actually have real clarity around it. And the top agents actually have they are very clear, not only their goals, but the path to their goals. They know kind of those milestones that they need to hit in order to hit those goals. They know their strengths and strengths and weaknesses, as well as work on mastering the skills and knowledge and habits in order to reach those goals. So the second one is the 80-20 principle. So Aaron also said self-correct, laser focus on what you want and get help to achieve your goals. Yes, thank you, Aaron. The next step is actually the 80-20 principle. Who would like to describe what that is? What does the 80-20 principle mean?
The 80-20 principle means to focus that 20% of your actions are gonna get the 80% of your results.
Absolutely. Thank you. That was defined beautifully, Ramon. Thank you so much. So as agents, what is our 20%?
Leads.
Lead generation. Absolutely. That is actually your number one thing. Even as new agents, and you're going to have kind of a learning curve of learning a lot of different things, right? You're learning Keller Williams, you're learning command, you're learning contracts, you know, you're even learning acronyms. Like, what does that BRE stand for? Holy crap. Oh, sorry. Oops, I forgot I'm on YouTube. You know, a lot of different acronyms. So, and then having to figure out, okay, now I have to lead gen. So I would say really focus on mastering lead generation, or to me, like, you could even give it a different word. It's just connecting with people about real estate. So, so that is absolutely key. I hope you write that down, that your day, every work day of real estate, there should be a time for you to lead gen. And what does that look like in your schedule? All right. Step 3 is actually E2P. And what this means is actually moving from the natural state of entrepreneurial and then to be really purposeful. So in order for me to really show what that concept is, this actually came from a different material. So I'm gonna minimize the screen, for instance, or for a sec. Oops, I lost you all. There you go. And so I have this, is that, let me see if I can zoom in so you guys can see this. Oop. So this is being E to P. And I will, let me share this file with you guys. Just a second. All right. There it is. All right, so that way you guys have it. I hope you download this. This is the E2P graph. So basically, E stands for entrepreneurial. So that means what you do naturally. So just kind of brainstorming, what do you guys do naturally right now? As far as like, what is your natural skills for some of you?
Communications.
Communication, okay. Anyone else? Don't be shy. This is a participating class.
Learning.
Learning, okay. Think about your personality. Let's just maybe limit to that. Victor likes to meet new people. Great. That comes naturally to you, right? Who else? As far as personality.
I'm personally like a giver, a helper. I like to help people.
Love it. So yes. So that's all that comes naturally to you.
Mm-hmm.
So and also being like, how many of you are naturally go-getters? Like you just, somebody just tells you to do something and you can pretty much run with it as long as it's on your goals. Okay. How many of you are naturally let's see, are naturally organized? Like you, details are your jam. You know, you can like look at that. If a line is slightly off and not perfectly like you know, horizontal, it just kind of irks you the wrong way, that kind of thing, you know. So yeah, you know, attention to detail. So that kind of thing as well. So those are things that come naturally. Now, if we just continue with that natural state, you all do you guys realize that there's actually a kind of a level of ceiling of achievement if you don't grow beyond what you naturally do? So let me kind of give you kind of an example, is that if you're not purposely focused on building skills that can get you to the next level and take you out of your comfort zone, you're going to hit a ceiling of achievement, kind of like a glass ceiling. So then, so an example is you're excited right now, you join our office. However, you decide that you really don't, as much as you like the scripts, you're not going to use the scripts because it doesn't sound natural to you, right? You're like, no, I'm going to kind of do it my way. I don't feel comfortable with that script, even though it's been proven to work. I'm not going to work on that. Now, if you kind of just go the same route and you're not getting the results, well, guess what? Then you kind of go into disappointment, like, oh, it's not working. Then you'll say, you know what? It's not working. I don't know if I'm right to do real estate. I don't know if I have the right personality. I don't know if I have the right skills, whatever. Then you start looking like, well, you know what? Maybe it's just I need to go in a different office. Then, of course, then you get excited again because it's a fresh new environment, but you never worked on that one skill of practicing the scripts in order to start embracing it and kind of give it enough time to let it work for you. Does that make sense? And how many of you in your past, not necessarily real estate, kind of bumped up against that, where you wanted to do something, but because it just felt too hard or just it got you way out of your comfort zone, it just kind of like, that didn't work out for me. Anyone kind of done that? Now I want you to think of something that you actually had a success, where you wanted to try something. It could be a hobby, something new, where you're like, you know what? I know this is tough. I'm just going to kind of keep doing it. I'm going to fail forward over and over again. It's not perfect. There are days I do not like doing this, but I'm just going to keep moving. And you kind of bust through that glass ceiling. And now you've actually achieved that goal. Has anyone actually had that in their life? Whether it's a new hobby, whether it's, with relationships, whatever. Anyone kind of felt that? So you guys experience both, but notice the difference when you broke through and got to that other side and reached that goal or that skill. So an example for me is running a half marathon. So for me, I do not like running, but I knew I wanted to use it like for form of exercise. I knew that I could not discipline myself enough to just run to kind of get going. I needed a huge goal. And so I went the opposite. I said, I'm just training for a half marathon. That was painful every single week. Questioned it every single week. And yet I still hit that goal. I wasn't trying to break records, but I finished that goal of just finishing the half marathon. Even if I was like almost the last person, I don't care. So that was my goal, but it taught me a lot about myself, where you actually then have to be purposeful. That's the P part. Do what comes unnaturally. It requires, so to be purposeful, I know you see these things, but if you think about it, in order to kind of break through that, doing what comes unnaturally, what did you have to do? Besides like focus, being extremely focused, what else? If you kind of think back in your past successes, what else to kind of get there? Anyone want to share?
Well, for me, I think it was like writing down everything that I was doing and then crossing out, like being honest with myself and saying, this isn't working or this is holding me back. So, and then writing down what I needed to do and kind of just tackle each thing and set it as a goal. Like once I was able to accomplish something, add more of what I needed to do to get where I wanted to be.
Yeah, so you had the kind of some sort of self-accountability, right?
Yes.
Where you kind of had a checklist like, okay, that's not what I accomplished this week, then I got to do next week. Great. What else? 2 more things.
Just keep going. You have to put your time in.
Yeah, it's really time, right? It's like, okay, that probably didn't work out today, or I don't feel the greatest. I did it. I showed up and I did what the activity I needed to do. And then just do it another day. Yep.
Dedication.
Dedication.
I told you I lost 100 pounds. Half of the person almost.
Yeah. So did you have to then change your habits?
A lot. So stop, not drinking anymore, staying away from sugar and bread and, and try to do at least like 4,000 to 6,000 calories per week, just, on the treadmill.
Yep. So it's kind of that. There was things where the new way you had to say yes, leave room for yes, and say no to the other things that you knew that was going the opposite of your goal, right? So that's great. Victor said, set small, reasonable goals and be determined and have consistency. Absolutely. It's the small wins. It's the wins towards your goal. And through these 3 weeks of Ignite, it's gonna be intense. You're gonna see the homework that you need to do. And I really want you want to probably write this down. It's progress, not perfection. So write it down. Progress, not perfection. It's doing those baby steps towards your goal. Or you want to get there faster? Absolutely. But it also takes a mind shift for you to get there. So keep in mind, I really invite you to be accountable to yourself. The reason why you got your license, there's a reason why you got your license, and there's a reason why you still have your license if you've been doing this for a while. There is a reason. You have a big why to create a life by design, to make your life and the people around you as lives better. That's kind of the primary reason, and you deserve 100% of that. So you gotta say what's gonna make you uncomfortable about get you to your goal and kind of look at that progress. And in order to kind of look at each progress and set goals, there's one other thing you have to do. You have to track it, because you cannot celebrate your wins if you don't know what your wins are. So I invite you every single day to actually have like a success journal. What were your wins in real estate? and even look at what were like the kind of key elements that built your business. And Command can help you with kind of tracking that as far as like adding contacts. What are the opportunities? It can help you track those numbers for you. But I want you to have a success journal for yourself during this next 3 weeks. Make a commitment on what activities did you do to achieve to build your business? Because I can guarantee you during those days where it just feels like, it was a rough day, that success journal is gonna just serve as a reminder that you've come so far. So again, so here, I love this graph. I like kind of posting this during kind of times where I just like, do I feel like it? Or just kind of reminding myself what I need to do. And notice that being from E2P is taking action-focused training. So notice, Ignite is not meant to just be here, watch the instructors, write notes, and then shut your notebook, and that's it. It's meant to be, what is the action I'm gonna take today from what I learned, and how can I implement that within 24 hours? It's just one action. So I hope this helps. And kind of look at this and just kind of remind yourself that to become a black belt, you do have to commit. It actually takes a mental commitment to go from E to P. So look at this and have your real estate goals like side by side, because it's going to remind you how to get there. So any kind of questions on this? Yes.
Do we have access to this?
I put it in the chat, the file.
Okay, thank you.
So it's in the chat box. You should be able to I hope you should be able to download it. I encourage you to download it and post it somewhere you can see it next to your real estate goals. All right, so that is kind of one of my favorite steps of the 6 personal perspectives is E to P. So let me bring back the slides. All right. For learning based. So what would you say, what does learning based mean? Or how would you describe learning based? Anyone who hasn't shared, maybe want to give it a shot? And you can even write it in the chat box too.
If nobody wants to say anything, I would say that it's basing everything you do on learning it first and then applying, but focusing on learning ongoingly, like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what.
Yes. Thank you, Ramon. So that's basically it. And Ignite will is basically a tool to kind of help you there. And it's the key also, and Ramon had said, is applying it, not just learning it for knowledge sake, learning it for doing sake. Step 5 is no limiting beliefs. And I'm on page 12, if you guys are following along on the manual. High achievers remove beliefs from their thinking that hold them back. So this is going to be a writing exercise for you guys. This next kind of few minutes. So hopefully you have something to write down. I want you to kind of jot down in your head, what is a limiting belief that kind of pops up for you as you build your real estate business. So just jot that down right now. Or if you're on a computer, type it out. And I want to tell you that even high achievers still have limiting beliefs. Everybody has kind of, every time there's a growth spurt, there's actually kind of a level ceiling of achievement for even top achievers. And I would say for everyone in leadership as well, there's going to be some limiting beliefs. But the difference is they are aware of their limiting beliefs, and then they kind of mentally shift the limiting belief. So it is said that we cannot control our first thought in our head that pops up. However, it takes skill and practice to actually shift our second, third, and fourth thought. So usually the first thought, that's hard. We will not necessarily get rid of that. However, it is working on the second, third, and fourth thought. So there's examples here, if in case you are not, if maybe this sounds familiar to you guys, that are limiting beliefs. I have to be an expert and know everything before I can begin my business. I'm not valid yet. Anyone show of hands who has that limiting belief? The second one, I don't think I can achieve a profit goal that will fund my life this year or in the next 12 months. Anyone believe that? All right. And then the other one example is, because I'm in the business will come to me naturally. I don't have to devote 3 hours each day to lead gen. Okay. So there's a lot of you that maybe feel about that first part. I have to be an expert and know everything before I can begin my business. I'm not valid yet. So what we want to do is we want to redirect these negative thoughts or these limiting beliefs to be positive ones, or what we call unlimiting beliefs, one that you can actually, your mind can actually take as true. So that first one, that first example I talked about, what can be a unlimiting belief that can flip the switch whenever that one kind of comes up? And the best way to turn limiting beliefs to unlimiting beliefs is make it in present tense and affirmative. So it has to have positive words in it, as well as be true right now for you. So what can, so let's brainstorm what can be some unlimiting belief to kind of cancel out that limiting one.
I think you're valid the minute you are licensed and get employment with a broker. So that nips that in the bud.
Great. So how do you turn that? How do you turn that so that you're talking to yourself?
Well, because we have
how do you make that? How do you make that statement so that it's kind of in first person for you?
Well, I'm actually very comfortable. I was licensed 3 weeks ago, and I'm very comfortable knowing that I'm a babe in the woods and just approaching everything from, bring it on. I have to learn. I don't know. I want to know. So I don't feel shy about not knowing. I'm at the beginning and I have to start walking.
Love it. Thank you. Anyone else want to give it a shot?
I would say, I would say that even if I don't know something right away, I can find the answer really fast because we have so many resources. So I am very resourceful. I can say I'm very resourceful. So even if I don't know something, I can find the answer right away with support and systems and everything. So there's nothing that can stop me.
I love that. I hope you guys also plagiarize that one. You guys are writing that down. Limiting these affirmations or these kind of unlimiting beliefs are really good for you guys to write down. Oh, Victor. Victor shared his. I'm not an expert yet, but I am attending classes like Ignite to learn as much as possible to deliver value to my clients. Beautiful. Thank you, Victor. That's actually pretty very similar. And I'm going to write the one down that I have actually in the instructor manual. Anyone else want to share as I write down? What else can you say? that can ring true right now for you?
Oh, I would say also that when we're new, we tend to like be very nervous when we don't know something. But there's people that have been doing this business for like 20, 30 years or 10 years, whatever. And there's always something that they don't know either. So don't feel pressure or don't feel worthless just because you don't know something right away, because that happens to everybody.
That's a great point. And would you say during COVID, it actually put a lot of people almost in a very similar playing field at this point?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of experts, especially people that were successful for generations in real estate, that they didn't know how to go virtual and everything. So they didn't know anything about it either, and they had to adapt.
Correct. So they still had to learn and adapt and pivot. And do you think as they adapted, do you think they were perfect?
No.
Absolutely. So I'm kind of writing down the one that came in my manual. So it's in the chat box. I need to be a professional, not an expert. Expertise will come from doing. The training will best prepare me for success in the real estate business, and taking productive action will cause my success. I don't know if you guys are new to Zoom. I think you have the ability in chat. You'll see the 3 dots next to file in the chat box. If you notice that, I think there's a function that says save chat. So if you actually start putting your ahas in here and sharing with everyone, guess what? You can, at the end of this, before maybe we end this meeting, you can save the chat and you'll be able to see that, and it'll save it as a text. So just kind of a tip. So I'm sorry, somebody had their hand up. Is it Ida?
Oh, no, I was going to say one of the things I like to fall back on is I say, because I'm new as well, I was just licensed in August. You know, I belong to a very successful team with Keller Williams with 20+ sales experience. And we as a team combine our knowledge together. So let me refer to my team so that I can be sure to get the best, most expert advice back to you.
Correct.
So I, you know, as new agents, we do belong under a coaching team, and we can use them as our resource and as part of our, you know, our presentation to potential clients.
Yep. And that's a great, what we call value proposition. And Ida, I want you to kind of rephrase it so that it's something you're telling yourself. So that the difference is what you're sharing is definitely a value proposition for others. What we're talking about here too is kind of how are we going to tell our mind that's telling us other things that we can't be successful in this business. So here's another one that's in general. It kind of went, it's the next thing I just typed. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. That's just very simple. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. So every day that you show up, every day that you make a phone call, every day that you connect with one other person for lead gen, you're getting better and better. So that is step 5, no limiting beliefs. And then number 6 is be accountable. And here it says, I love this definition that's on page 6, or I'm sorry, page 13 in the manual. It says an accountable person says, everything in my life is a result of my choices and my actions. I own my life. And so to make sure that you be accountable, and be accountable also means not only being accountable to yourself, but as we go from E to P, is start adopting or looking at your accountability partners. And for those of you that are in coaching, just curious who's in coaching, whether it's launch coaching or growth coaching, it is really talking about having somebody else help us be accountable to our goals, because again, we're kind of being purposeful, right? We're going out of our natural comfort zone. So a lot of times that person can help us push a little bit further along than if we were to try to do it ourselves. And Aaron says, there is no plan B. If you start something, finish it. So yeah, that one's a good one too. So any kind of questions on the 6 personal perspectives? I do invite you, as far as the mission 1, go back and watch those videos. You're going to get good, like a few minute insights from top leaders and Keller Williams about that. All right. So the next thing is your big why. Let's see. So kind of knowing your big why. So just curious, who would like to describe what is a big why? You know, I kind of mentioned it.
It's like the reason why you are doing what you're doing in real estate. What's the reason behind it?
Yes, what is the reason behind it? So let me actually share with you. I'll download the material so that way you can see this, because again, I do encourage you to go back and look at the materials. There's just a lot of good stuff in here. And so this is on page 19 of the materials, is kind of this graph, your passion of big why. So this essentially, I love this graph. This is how to get to success. Okay, so notice that there's 3 items to success here. And it's really hard, challenging to really have success without, if you're missing one of these 3 things. So passion for big why, plus follow the models, plus time on task over time. So follow the models. Ignite, just know that Ignite is actually based on the Millionaire Real Estate book by Gary Keller. Anyone heard of that book? Does everyone in the office have that book? Okay. If you do not, reach out to me, because everyone in our office should have that book. We will give you a book. But basically it kind of follows the models. Now, time on task over time. What does that mean? Or who wants to give it a shot? Ramon?
Consistency.
Oh, I already talk a lot, so you can talk if you want.
Ida?
Ida,
Did you want to say?
I was going to say consistency. Like,
Yep.
you know, if you're gonna do your lead generation from 8 to 10 every morning, then you stick with that.
Mm-hmm. There really is that consistency, right? And the plan. So if you're missing any of these, do you think it'd be just more challenging to get to success?
Yes.
So I want you to look at this, this, and this. What do you think is the most boring for people? Which is what actually kind of probably doesn't get them to the success they want. What do you think for agents? What of all these 3 things, what do you think is the most boring?
Follow the models.
That's over time.
It's actually this.
Yeah.
3 things.
It's the time on task over time.
Oh.
I had somebody say, you know what, I want to shadow a new or a top agent. I want to shadow a top agent. I want to see what they do every single day. Top agent. And what he discovered, or actually this top agent was sharing, he said that he makes his calls, he does calls, lead gen, things like that for like 3 hours a day. He said, okay, if you really want to shadow me, you got to shadow me for a week. And so when he did that, the new person or the person that was shadowing him kind of asked him at the end, or like, what you learned. He's like, gosh, you do the same thing over and over again. Looks boring. It's not exciting. I thought you'd be going on a lot of appointments, but you're really spending a majority of your time like on the phones, making phone calls or whatever. He goes, yeah, that to me was the hardest part of this entire thing, is to actually be consistent, even on days that I don't feel motivated to do it. And he had to do that for a very good amount of time in order to kind of see his business go from, you know, just a few deals to kind of exponentially grow. And he made that commitment for his first 3 years. So he actually achieved his 5-year goal in 3 years. So this right here is that you're going to see a lot of models, right? You're going to see a lot of models from different people. They all work. The only difference is, how long are you going to just work that one model for it to work? You got to think of that. And especially during this time, right? Are you in it for the short, quick fix? Like a, what is it? Quick, rich scheme? Not scheme. Quick, rich, get quick, rich? Or are you in it for the marathon? Because I want you to, when you start, how many of you are going to the business planning clinic on Friday with Ashley? I hope you do. It's free. That class is actually usually like a few $100s to attend. So hopefully you can sign up for that. But anyways, as you go into 2021, I want you to think, what's your long game? So, and what are you going to do to pace yourself so that you can at least be consistent throughout that time? So I want you to think of, what are you doing time on task on time? And guess what? What you're not doing is also time on task on time. So if you have been in this business for a little bit, like who's been at least maybe for 6 months in real estate? Nobody? Oh, okay. But whether you have or haven't, I want you to think, well, time on task on time also includes the activities you're not doing. So, or you haven't done consistently, and just kind of notice that pattern. So time on task on time is activities you do or don't do. So just kind of want you to think about that. So I know somebody had said, be creative with your follow-up. That's awesome. That you learned that in command or from yesterday, but I also want you to say, have a follow-up. Don't stress about being creative if you're not consistent with the follow-up in the first place. That makes sense? Just having that schedule. Do that first. Have a simple follow-up that you know you can sustain in the long run, then start being creative. All right. So now, so as we talked about, having your big why, this is where top agents really have clarity on their big why. So I want you to take a few minutes, I'll say kind of 5 minutes here, is to answer these questions, and you can jot it down for yourself. I do encourage you to write it down if you have not done this exercise before. The reason being, there's something about writing it down that you're actually physically connecting your body to your goal. It's that physical writing down that kind of is almost subconsciously kind of feeding your subconscious mind. So these are the questions. What is or was your driving motivation, the why or goal for a career in real estate? And see if you can maybe, we only have a limited amount of time, so maybe highlights of like, what is your why? And for those of you that maybe have been licensed for a little bit, I want you to say, what is your why now in a career in real estate? A lot of times when we first get our license and then being in the business, like I've been in the business for 16 years, My why in the beginning is definitely not the same why that I'm still in real estate. And sometimes we kind of have to relook at that and just say, well, why am I, you're basically recommitting to real estate if you've been licensed for a while. Number 2, what will that goal, achieving that goal mean for you? In what ways will it change your life? And what doors will it open for you? And I will say maybe what doors will open for you and your family. So take a few minutes to just write that down. And really kind of give it a why. So Erin kind of put here, I want at least 5 closings. That's great, but what does the 5 closings represent for you? So it's kind of like us saying, I want to earn $100,000. We don't earn for just the money. The money represents something. So what does that represent for you? So I want you to kind of
answer.
Actually, I'm going to have you write it down. Thank you. We'll share at the end. Wish I had music. I don't have music. You don't want to hear me hum. So I'm not Evie, sorry. So I'm going to just repeat the question as you write it down, as you guys are kind of jotting. What is your driving motivation, the why or goal for a career in real estate? And again, if it's like money or if it's a number, like a number of transactions, I want you to dig deeper on that one and just say, what does having this money represent to me? What will achieving your goal mean for you? In what ways will it change your life? And what doors will it open for you and your family? And when you're kind of done, maybe answering these questions, just look up on the screen. So I kind of know, get a feel of like who is, or turn your screen on, video on. So I kind of know who is done. All right, for the ones that are done, I'm gonna move to there's actually a next page. Now I'm gonna have you just take time from the questions, from the answers to the questions that you wrote in the previous page, as homework, I do invite you to really look at that and see if you could summarize it to one statement that summarizes your big why. So that might take a little bit of introspective time. So I'm not going to rush it right now. If you can think of it, great, but I'm not going to have you do it. I really want you to kind of sit with the answers and kind of think of like, okay, if I were to summarize this in one statement, what would that say? But I want you to answer these 2 questions after you've jotted it down. What could get in the way of achieving your big why? And what ways can you prevent that from happening? Because a lot of us kind of have this big why, we can really dig deep. But if we don't acknowledge that there's going to be obstacles in the way to getting there, and kind of think of and brainstorm how we can prevent that from happening, this gives us a toolbox when we get there that it reminds us, oh yeah, this is what I came up with. This is the solution to get through that hump or that obstacle that's in the way. So I want you to kind of take a couple minutes to just answer what could get in the way of achieving your big why, and what ways can you prevent that from happening? Because everybody on their to their journey to their goal, there's gonna be obstacles. So let's prepare for that now. So just write down what can that be and what ways you can prevent that from happening. And what I would like to share really is a few different people to kind of share like one of their things. And you're going to find throughout the 3 weeks that you attend Ignite, you may run across other things that get in the way of achieving your big why. And I want you to be like, oh, there's another little thing. So what can I do to work around that or prevent that? And it looks like there's a few people that are done. If you're done, give a thumbs up. Okay. All right. I think we have enough people. I know, again, this might take a little bit of time, so definitely bookmark this and come back to it. So can someone share one thing that could get in the way of achieving their big why, and what did you come up with as far as a solution to prevent that from happening?
I came up with the fact that what would get in my way is just as myself, and not following the process, not having a defined schedule that I stick to.
Okay.
And to overcome that is to make a commitment to myself to be self-disciplined and to master my schedule.
Great. I love that. I love that last part, is to kind of build the skills to master your schedule. Right. So sometimes that kind of takes a little bit of discipline, to time on task, to just keep following your schedule. So love that. Who else would like to share? Don't be shy. We're here to kind of help each other. Maribel?
For me, something that I've experienced in real life is just a big life change. Something like breaking up or having to move or something like that. That's something that I noticed affected me, only because I felt that I wasn't financially stable, like on my own 2 feet. So what I realized is just to always, like, as I'm learning so that I'm able to commit full time to real estate, is to always have, always be able to make sure that I have a backup plan or something, if for something like that does change my life greatly, that I'm able to stand on my own 2 feet without depending on someone else during this time.
Great. So kind of having a specific plan B, to help you so until you get to your goal. Great. Thank you for sharing. Who would like to share? One more. What could get in the way? Okay, Ramon.
I mentioned that my possible COVID restrictions, if they increase restrictions from COVID or whatever, that I will master virtual solutions and find solutions and suggestions on how to still keep my business running, even though there's more restrictions and all that.
I love that. That one is something, thank you, Ramon. That's something, do you think that that could be a possibility for us? That we can go more restricted,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
back?
yeah. You never know, so it's always a possibility. Yeah.
So again, do you think that there's still, even though business is slow, do you think that we can still kind of keep going? There are some solutions. So I would say for all of you, because this is a real thing, I hope you write that one down because this can happen, is talk to people you know. That's it. Just continue talking to people through this process, and we're going to find out, as you have realized, database is not just database. Database is basically allowing us to fine tune and nurture our relationships that we have now. We just happen to have a conversation of real estate every now and then. And not every conversation has to be about real estate with the people in your database. So, so that one can be one as well. So thank you, Ramon, for sharing. And thank you, Patrine, for sharing as well. I think that one, I want you to kind of even look at, oh, shoot, that's another obstacle. I want you to kind of be aware during this next 3 weeks, being like, oh, there's something else that could get in the way or hinder my goal. And what are some ways to prevent that, or a solution around that? Okay. I know that's going to be hard, but there's going to be, for you guys, I know, a lot of self-awareness. So as we wrap up this session, from maybe some people that might, I do kind of have you share, and again, you can share in the chat box, what were some ahas or what are takeaways from just even doing and really spending some time doing this exercise? Anyone?
I like the E2P graph. I like how clear that is. And I think it will help me and many people keep focus and visualize. Because I think we all have an idea of that process, but visualizing like that, I think was a big aha for me.
Great, thank you. Maribel?
For me, it is knowing that this is for me, that I'm not turning back. I'm not, that there is no other path than this. And that I'm going to, like, the big why is going to have to be, no matter what, is going to have to motivate me, because this is it.
Great. Thank you, Maribel. And very simply, kind of what Erin said too, mentioned, there is no plan B. This is just whatever it takes.
Even if you have little plan Bs, to make sure that this is like always your goal.
Correct. There might be, like some other support things, right? So, but this is it. This is the big one. Thank you. And then Leah?
Oh, I was just going to say she made a great choice.
Yes. And you guys are you not all in good company to make that work? Everybody deserves that goal. There is enough. Doesn't matter what the market is, there is enough for all of you to hit that goal and to make that much of a difference. And you absolutely 100% deserve that. So kudos to you for kind of reminding yourself of that. And I want you to really remember that, or come back to this video, because it is going to be recorded on the YouTube, to kind of play this part and say that you deserve it, and just keep going. Okay. Good job. Good job, you guys. All right. I'm not going to really go through the monetary goal right now, but I do want to show you really quick. I'm going to throw in a little bit command in here. So, and if you guys are in coaching, I encourage you to, if you haven't talked to your coach about your 2021 goals, is to maybe look at how this is set up. Is that you can actually kind of create your monetary goals right here in command. So when you log on to command, And that part is not working at the moment. You might see in this dashboard somewhere, actually, I don't even see it on here. So we're gonna go to reports. So if you scroll down on the left side, you go to reports.
What page?
And you're, this is in command. Sorry, I'm going off script right now. So I'm in command. How to get to command is actually, if you want to jot this down, agent.kw.com. That is the best, shortest way to command. Agent.
Connect works. Does that work?
I'm sorry?
Does KW Connect work?
To KW Connect, that is actually the kind of the YouTube and Google of Keller Williams. Agent.kw. It can get you there, but this website, hold on. There's no www in front. I put it in the chat box. This website just gives you straight to command. And again, the best browser to use this is in Chrome, regardless if you're on a Mac or PC. All right, so if you go here, if you log in with your KW login, go to reports, you're gonna see up on top where it says goals. Everyone see that? So you will see goals. Then you can see on the upper right corner goal settings. And here, it's going to have you get started. I'm not going to go through all of this 100%, just to kind of let you know I'm going to go through this super, super fast. And you will learn kind of really the basics of each part in Friday's business planning clinic. But here you get to your goals, and here you can start setting your goals for 2021. So here it kind of breaks down what your profit is, what your expenses are, how your business is made up, your average commissions. So this is kind of a great example. A lot of people like getting $100,000. Expenses while you're in real estate versus cost of sales has to do with expenses only when a transaction is done. And these are kind of good numbers if you are a new agent. You might want to write these down as far as your average commissions per unit. Now, is there anybody here part of a team? No? Okay. These are the average commissions per unit. As far as listings, I would recommend, we're seeing this in our launch coaching, listings is 10,000 in commissions for when you represent sellers. And for buyers, the average commission is 12,500. So you might want to jot those down for when you do this exercise, because this will be what it's gonna kind of cost. And then when you hit next, it will just kind of break down conversion rates, which I just leave it as is. And we're going to see too in our Ignite, this is really a great graph to remind you that in order to get to the profit goal, you actually have to go through these steps. And we're going to go through that in Ignite in just a minute. And then if you hit save, it should break it down. Actually, it's not gonna break it down yet. That looks like that's not turned on yet, but just kind of a reminder, maybe in a few weeks, go back into here, because then you'll see like how many leads you need, how many contacts and how many appointments set and that you need for the year in order to hit your goal. And then it breaks it down per month. So it gives you those milestones that you have to hit per month to help you keep on pace to your goal. Everyone understand that? I'm going to go through this again, but I just want to be mindful is that you can set your goals through Ignite. That's really the key of this exercise. All right. So just wanted to just show an overview of that. So this is for 2020. It will kind of end up looking like this. How many contacts you need, appointments that you need to set, agreements are buyer representation agreements or listing agreements you need for the year in order to get a certain number of closings. So notice at the end, it's like 1 unit a closing, and these are kind of like the milestone markers that you need to hit. So if there are some numbers that sound overwhelming, just take deep breaths for a moment, because really, when we break it down, what Victor said, you know, break it to small achievable goals. When you break it down per day, it's not, then it doesn't look as overwhelming as seeing, holy moly, I have to get how many contacts or something like that, right? I need how many people in my database? I want you to just take deep breaths, and then we get to just figure out, and you can get the help of your coach to figure out, well, really, what do I need to focus on per day? That's my goal. That everyone kind of, any questions on that? All right. So
I have a question.
yes.
Where were you in command? Because I just logged in.
So under reports.
Reports?
Yes. So see this on the left, there's a little graph. It says, and if you hover, it says reports.
I can't
And
see
then,
the screen anymore. When I
oh, I'm sorry.
you said it went away.
Gotcha. And then when you're in reports, then just jot this down. Then you can go to goals.
Okay.
And by the way, I believe that when you go back to the video, you'll be able to see the screen.
Oh.
Because it's recorded.
I tried. I fiddled around. I downloaded something in the chat box and then the video screen.
Oh, gotcha. Got it. Understood. Thank you. And if you need help a little bit later, I can maybe share with you a video of how to get there. Okay. All right. So this one, who can read this quote out loud?
For every day you don't lead generate. For every day you don't. For every day
Go
you
ahead.
don't lead. For every day you don't lead generate. 90 days later you can expect no money. You don't want this to happen.
So I want you to say what basically it is whatever you do today or not do today is going to show up 90 days later. That really is it. So, and that has to do with, that's why if you, who has seen Ashley's housing stats, like maybe this month or been in her team meetings, if you notice, she starts every stats, her housing stats team meeting, she always shows you 3 months later. She's like, okay, today actually represents, you know, like Valentine's or things like that. Is because of this. Okay. So let me go to, so that way you can see this. Let me see. Where is it? I lost my other screen. Hold on. So I want to go to, if you're on the manual, page 27. I don't know where I did with that manual. Here it is. So this manual here, so this is basically the journey to the monetary goal. So you remember the graph that I showed you just earlier in command, kind of like it looks like a funnel. This is basically the journey to the goal. So we talked about, this is kind of like another graph, is that there are steps or milestones in order to get to a closing. So here it talks about time that you spend doing lead generation. And I want you to say that lead generation is also lead follow-up. So if you're writing notes down, lead generation includes lead follow-up. Then that turns into appointments. So appointments is buyer appointments and seller appointments. What it doesn't include is showings necessarily. So we're talking about like a buyer consultation or listing presentation or consultation. The next one is time from appointments. You want to get agreements. So what do you think agreements are?
Getting listing.
Yep, listings for sellers. And what would be the agreement for buyers?
Offer.
No, not offer.
BRE.
The buyer representation agreements. Yes. This time, those are commitments to you. Those are the agreements. And then the next one is from agreements going into contracts. Contracts here means getting into in escrow or a pending contract. So notice there isn't anything necessarily meaning offers, because in this market, do you think that in this market with low inventory, do you think that there are many offers out there that don't get accepted? Any guesses? Yes.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. So the thing is, we can't count on offers to go into pendings. We just talk into under contract. And then finally, close is when the transaction closes. And then that's around 90 days. Now, is it possible to go from lead gen to a close in less than 90 days? Do you think that's possible? Yes, it is possible. It is very, very possible, but I want to tell you that the momentum, though, for majority of time, it's 90 days. So that's why for you guys is we're actually starting to work in October. We're starting to work our 2021 goals. Now, you may came across people that might want to close sooner. That is true. But for the majority of the work that you do now, you're basically starting to work 2021. So how many of you guys want to start off 2021 very, very strongly with possibly like 1 or 2 possible closings just right off the bat? So that's what it starts with, doing what you do today. And so plan for that. And even through the rest of the year, right? It's keeping that momentum. So this is the funnel I was talking about. Now, and this is on page 29 of the Ignite manual. What I do want to point out, that's also, actually you'll see in command, that this, there's a couple of other like sections in here that that command has. Between leads and appointments, in between that is contacts. So I want you to write some notes down. Leads that mean here, the leads that we're talking about here are leads captured. Meaning you just got, like, say you talk to somebody that you know, and they say, you know what, I actually have a friend that's been thinking about buying real estate, and I think she said maybe next year because her rent's coming up. Her lease is coming up, excuse me. And she gives you her friend's information. That is what we call leads captured. Okay, I want you to write this down because it's important for command. When you make the call to that person, or you connect to that referral, and you actually have a conversation with them, that to me means a connected contact. Means you had a conversation with them. And if that person, we'll say that person is John, right? John says, you know what, Ramon, yeah, I am looking to buy next year. Then that person turns into an opportunity. So the terms I'm using, Leads, contacts, and opportunities, I am specifically describing it in command, okay? It's gonna sound different from scripts from Steven, but what I'm describing to you is basically how you translate command. So leads are leads captured. So that would be like if you did a Facebook ad and you got leads from there, right? Where they just signed up, they want more info, that's leads captured. You haven't had a conversation yet or a two-way communication. Once you have the two-way, it turns into a contact. Connected contact is what I like to call it, connected contact. And then when they confirm with you that, yes, they want to buy or sell, then you want to make sure you create an opportunity in command. So everyone following that. Leads captured, connected contacts, and then opportunity. That, if you follow that flow, as you do lead generation, as you do follow-up, it's going to make it so much easier in command for you to understand those concepts. So the opportunity in command is going to show you visibly your pipeline. That's actually going to show you how much your business is worth. And it's kind of cool if, how many of you are visual? Like I like stickers. So the more stickers or the more like dollar signs, I'm like, I am going. That's actually motivating for me. Opportunities is going to show you how much your business is worth at that time. It's very cool. You'll see your graph going up. You're going to see like calculations of potential versus probable. It'll be a lot of fun for you to say, okay, how many opportunities can I get in talking to my people? Okay, so I want you to kind of just really grasp that. I hope you wrote notes because that correlates to command and how to utilize command to kind of help you track and be accountable to your business. So any questions on this? All right, so this is a question I get a lot from new agents. They say, great, I don't have a schedule. How many of you kind of joined, got your real estate license because you like the freedom, the flexibility of freedom in schedule and so forth? Anyone? Okay. That can also be your downfall if you don't have a schedule. Top agents are flexible in their schedule, but they have a schedule. They don't operate without one. But what I also get too is, what do I do? I created my schedule. I said I'm working real estate, but what do I do during those 4 hours besides classes? This is the 4 key habits to focus on every single day. Again, I want you to just emphasize perfection, not progress, not perfection. Progress, not perfection. Is to actually make your hours count when you work in real estate. So the first one is grow and manage your database. And would somebody read what this says? What does grow and manage your database mean?
Add 10 new contacts into your contacts database every day?
Yes. So that's adding 10 people in. And what's our contact database? Yep, command. I saw Ramon word it out. Yes, command. It's actually kind of doing it from command. Okay. Again, build that habit. It's not about perfection. If you have to start off with 1 a day, do that for a few days. And if you're comfortable with that, go to 2. Prospect. So what does that mean? Who else can say what prospect is?
Looking for new leads.
Or what does it say here? Oh, I'm sorry. Who can read the screen?
Speak with 10 people in your database every day.
So speak with 10 people in your database every day. And I would say, how many of you like to, some of your people, you probably, it's easier to get a hold of like through text. Anyone that versus over the phone?
Yeah.
So I would say make that half. Really focus on, If you're trying to speak to 10 people a day, I want to say, you know, half of it can be through direct messaging or in social media, direct message, not commenting, and text messaging. It doesn't count until they reply back though. So sending 100 text messages as a text blast, for instance, doesn't count unless they reply back. It's a two-way conversation. But I want to challenge you in saying, although relationships can start with kind of digital, do you think any relationship is enhanced solely on digital? No. So every relationship has to have some element of either a voice to voice or even in person, or maybe something like this, and which is why it's so important when I say how you participate here is how you participate everywhere, is when you kind of open up the video, it kind of is almost adding that layer of that human interaction versus somebody that's just digitally, if that makes sense. Kind of enhances it to a level. So FaceTime and things like that. Follow up. Who can read that? Who can read that on the screen?
Write in notes to people you know or have recently connected with every day.
Correct. So that's actually 10 handwritten note cards when they say that. So how many of you actually have the practice of writing note cards in general? Does anybody do that? No? Okay, nobody here. All right. Now, I want you to think of, when was the last time that you actually had a handwritten note card from somebody? Everyone remember? Anyone got a handwritten note card this year, or birthday card? Okay, for the people that raised their hands, do you remember who that person is?
Yeah, my wife.
Yeah. Oh, that's so nice. Yes, I hope you remember her. But what I'm saying is that if it left an impression, do you think that as an agent, if you follow up any conversation or send a actual physical note card that is written, or just something physical, do you think that would leave an impression with that other person?
Yep. Probably,
So
yeah.
I want you to possibly build that habit. If you've never done it before, and there are some automated ways to do it. Like I am actually part of shoot, I can't remember, AM cards, where I can create like note cards, you know, it will look like my handwriting, and I can have it digitally sent out, but it's a physical card. And I actually did that a few times with like a thank you, and even somebody who just got married. And that did kind of leave an impression. Because does it not take time to at least write a card? So in the Ignite Scripts book, there's actually a few templates of like, if you don't know what to write in a note card, it will show you what to do. And it just has to be, and it doesn't have to be complicated. So I want you to think about that follow-up, but I would also say as part of a follow-up is you can even add them to what's called a SMART plan in Command. So there is follow-up system, SMART plan. I don't know if Chris mentioned that yesterday, but something to kind of consider. But think about a very simple follow-up plan, and especially the people in your database. It'll give you an opportunity to get their address. And then finally, know your market. Who can read that last part for me that maybe hasn't read out loud before?
I can read it. Preview 10 homes for sale every day and visit 10 in person every week.
Yes. Now there's going to be a little bit of a challenge with this, with COVID. So I'm going to have you write down, I encourage you to, this is where you build your knowledge about the market, is to preview 10 homes for sale on the MLS. So I want you to write that down. Preview 10 homes for sale on the MLS every single day, like new sales, maybe look at all the ones in our office. And when it says visit 10 in person every week, that's going to be challenging right now. So instead, I encourage you to maybe visit 10 like virtual tours, or like look at their 3D profile. There is a way to actually look at homes from our office called caravans. So is everybody here part of SDAR? Okay, is there anybody that's not? Okay, so let me kind of quickly show you. So there are caravans every week, except for the holidays, it gets a little funky. But so like downtown, their caravans are Thursday mornings. The metro area, which is like our office, Bankers Hill, Hillcrest, Mission Hills, like Adams Avenue, theirs is on Fridays, Friday mornings. And right now, they're all virtual anyways. They're all on Zoom. But if you go to sdar.com and go to, you scroll down here, and you're going to see San Diego Tour and Caravans. Oh, hold on just a second.
You all of the tour and caravans.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. Yeah, I kind of blipped out there for a second. So if you go here, then you can go to caravan areas, and then you can see when their caravans are. So again, because of COVID, I think pretty much a lot of them, if not all of them, are Zoom. So that's a great thing. So you can kind of join them. You just have to check out their like caravan. I think we're in caravan 1. And you'll see like what areas they cover. Some of them might have membership fees to join in. And then some of them are free. So just kind of look at it, and you can see like when they are, what areas and so forth. Actually, I think it's Caravan 2 that we're part of. Caravan 2. Yep, sorry. So Caravan 2, I think, is us.
I see non-members fee $20.
So some of them might have, and when they say non-members, they mean members of that caravan.
SDAR.
It's not members of SDAR.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of to be clear, okay? So so there's that. But that would be a good way to kind of see like a group of homes like previewed and kind of displayed. And if you are interested in getting a listing, it's just an opportunity to see how people are also marketing their listings too. So
So a quick question, the fee is for if you want to feature your listing, or even if you want to just see listings?
Some of them is pitching. When they say pitch your listing, it's kind of marketing your own listing. Some of them say if it's like $5 fee. So you're gonna have to read each one, because each caravan is organized and managed by a group of affiliates or realtors. So you just kind of have to get more details. Some of them have websites, so then they kind of get you there. Like the Metro Caravan has their own website. Okay, I lost. Okay. Okay, so yes. So that's the daily 10-4. You want to kind of do that again every single business day, and work towards building that every single day. So if you start really pushing to talk to 10 people a day in your database, and then add them to your database, notice all these 10. So this 10, this 10, and this 10 that they're talking about can be all the same people. Does that make sense? So like if you talk to 10 people in your database, you add those 10 people, their information in command. And then if you got their mailing address, you can send them 10 note cards. That is the same 10 people. So that's the daily 10-4 as far as building the powerful habits. And the sooner you can make this consistent, the faster you can get to your goals. So any questions on the daily 10-4? And if you look at the manual, like page 32, we'll kind of go a lot more in depth of each of those sections for you, if you're not sure. All right. So questions on that? All right, so the last, just a few more things. I'm not going to be able to cover everything in that manual, but they are really good information. So I do invite you to review. Is practice your scripts. I just want to kind of remind you guys, how many of you are attending scripts classes kind of in the mornings with Stephen and Coach Carl? Okay. Make sure that with not just attending scripts, is that you actually get a role play partner and you practice no more than 20 minutes a day with that person. So what it is you call them up, you practice one script, one person will go for 10 minutes and then you switch and that's it. And this is in addition to just attending the class, right? So it's about taking action and really getting time to practice your scripts with somebody. And so if you get to make that a habit and not just attend, you're actually saying it out loud. And how many of you, you guys have Zoom? I would invite you, if you have the pro version of Zoom, is do your scripts practice with that partner in this setting and record yourself. Anyone record themselves on Zoom yet? Why do you want to, as much as we don't like hearing our voices, but why is that so valuable to record yourself practicing scripts?
So you can hear how you sound to other people.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And what else?
And you can kind of fix a little bit of mistakes that you see yourself making.
Yep. Also your mannerisms. So I don't know about you. So I notice, because I can see myself, I'm purposely looking at the camera so I can see myself, is also where I'm focused on, versus like you notice that if I look here and looking at my screen versus you, how much more connected that looks like if I look this way versus this way. And then also too, my mannerisms for me personally is like playing with my hair. Because how does that look to a consumer if you're like me, I play with my hair. Subconsciously, how does that kind of feel? Anyone know or kind of guess?
I guess it takes away from your kind of professional presentation and makes it look just less like you're in control of what you're doing.
Yeah. It kind of maybe show like the either unprofessional or nervousness, right? So kind of that. And then also kind of noticing like where I pause or how I pause. So just kind of being aware of that. Those subtle differences you don't notice like necessarily over the phone, but I encourage you, if there's like maybe once a week, try doing this through scripts practice with someone on Zoom and record it. So then you can really kind of take note and saying, oh, how can I improve? And sometimes it's not how the way you talk, but maybe it's your mannerisms as well. So yeah, that would be really good. All right. So here on page, kind of towards the end of the Ignite book, is we talked about this, is how to be accountable. And so on page 50, when you go back, I want you to write page 50 there's a little bit of an exercise of how to prioritize your tasks. And I just want to kind of bring this up and kind of go through this exercise together, because it takes a while for people. By the way, there are scripts for new agents in here. So kind of take a look at that in the manual. But let me jump to kind of prioritizing a plan. How many of you make a list of what you need to accomplish the day? So this would kind of be a good step. But I think that a lot of times we have such a list that we don't realize what's important and what's urgent. So let's do this exercise together. Let me bring out my my manual so we can see kind of test what's important and urgent. So I want you to kind of take note of this. So that first activity, returning a call to a person inquiring about a listing. Is that important? Raise your hand if you think that's important. Okay. Is that urgent? So the answer is both. It is important and urgent, because that's a lead. That's a potential lead kind of coming in, right? And so let me see what page this is. Page 40. So that is a lead. I'm just trying to find the answers here. Oh. All right. So scheduling a training class on contracts. I think I have the wrong memo. Is that important?
Yes.
You know what? I don't have the right answers. Is that urgent?
No.
So it's not urgent. It's important, but probably not urgent. Daily 10-4, is that important?
Yes.
And who says it's urgent?
Yes, it is.
It is. I would say both for that. Why do we think we want to make that urgent?
Because if you don't do that, you're not gonna have business in 90 days.
Correct. So that, yep, that's the 90-day rule, right? That's the habit that we're kind of building every single day. Ordering business card, is that important?
Yes.
Yes.
No. Is that urgent?
No.
No. Why? So remember, we're talking important. We're talking about what is your top 20. Ordering business cards, new business cards. Do you think you still could get leads without it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially during COVID.
Yes. Yes.
Because no one wants them.
You can text
Yes.
them your business card.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
You can text them your business card that I do.
Correct.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't take that time. That shouldn't be your priority. Putting materials, marketing materials together for a meeting with a seller next week. Is that important?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, but is it urgent?
Is it next week? No.
Yes, if it's next week.
I would say no. So it is important. You need to plan for that, but I don't think it's urgent, meaning like it has to be done today. Now, if this is tomorrow, do you think it's urgent?
Yes.
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 Update my Facebook. Is that important?
Relatively important.
No.
Not important at all? No? Okay.
Is it urgent?
No.
No.
Is it not
That
important
is
though, to
not-
be up to date with your social media? Is not important?
It is not part of your 20%. Is that part of
Okay.
lead gen? Like
No.
proactive prospecting?
Not proactive prospecting.
No, to me, that's part of marketing. That is not prospecting.
Okay. Yeah.
There is a distinct
Okay, I get it.
difference. Picking up dry cleaning before they close. Is it important?
Nope.
But is
Unless
it
you need
urgent?
to wear it tomorrow. Nope.
I would say it could be urgent, but could you hire or could you have somebody else pick it up for you if you needed it tomorrow? And then lead generate. Is it important and is it urgent?
Yes, both.
It's important.
It is both. This should be, again, should be on your schedule, even if it's 30 minutes that day. Like if you only can work real estate for a couple hours, it should be at least 30 minutes. So I hope that kind of helped rank what the kind of priorities is. And that might be, especially if you have long lists of things to do, will be a way of being able to do that. And here it kind of talks about time blocking and how to time block. So if that is a skill that you are working on, so I noticed for a lot of people that is a skill, kind of take a look at that as well. So as we wrap up, we have 2 more minutes. I know it kind of is long and fast. As we wrap up, what were some from just the whole session today? I would love to kind of hear from each of you, whether it's on chat, what were your takeaways today as we really focused on igniting your business, building that foundation, and just really learning about the attitude and mindset that you need to have?
Consistency is something that I am seeing here.
Consistency. I love it. Thank you, Maribel. Who else would like to share? I'm gonna get an aha from each one of you. So even if you put it on the chat box, please do. Otherwise, I'm gonna call each of you that is still here. So Erin, what's the biggest takeaway today?
Connection and knowledge of how to be connected with people, and consistency. I can't say that word. Consistency. I get stuck with that. It's just not a simple connection, but you have to have a specific knowledge and be organized for that and put the time for it to be connected. And then write down and follow up. Be sure that everything that you do, you keep a track of it. Otherwise, it's going to be everything going to be everywhere, and you're not going to be able to hold on it. Great,
thank you, Erin. And then Victor wrote, continue to master the skill of shifting limiting beliefs. That's actually huge. And I would say also too, is 80% of success is 80% mindset and 20% skill. So we're talking about the 80-20 rule. It's 80% mindset and 20% skill. Ramon, what was your one biggest takeaway? Was he still there? Don't know if he's still there. All right, Leah.
Lee.
Oh, Lee, I'm sorry. Thank you. Lee, what was your biggest takeaway today?
Kind of a reinforcement of what I took away yesterday, which was really just structuring every day with good habits that lead toward the lead generation and towards succeeding at business. So just really establishing a protocol of behavior with phone calls and reading and just doing the footwork. And so it's a good emphasis because it's just it's reality.
Great, thank you, Lee. Patrine?
I guess just to reiterate what everybody else has said, it's consistency, it's establishing good habits, it's just basically working on your lead generation, because that is the bulk of what you have to do to operate in real estate. If you're going to buy and sell homes, you need to have leads to do that. So without that, you don't have a business.
Awesome. Thanks, Katrine. And then finally, Jeremy. Are you still there, Jeremy? All right. Well, maybe Jeremy's not there. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much. I hope you learned something today and start implementing those tools in the daily 10-4. So just a reminder, as we wrap up, there is a team meeting today at 1:30. You don't want to miss it. It's actually with our regional tech trainer, Rob, and he's going to talk about, I believe, opportunities and campaigns in Command. So going to be a very powerful session, and he's going to show us some really cool tips of being able to build our business. So thank you again. Have a great day, and look forward to seeing you next time. All right, bye now.
Thank you.
Clarissa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.